without further ado, I have a guest today, and I'm really excited to speak with her. She's been on the show before, and her primary was 2 nights ago. Time flies. It was 2 nights ago. And so we're going to chat about what went down, and we're going to get some feedback from her. Please welcome back to the show. She ran for New York's 12th District, Lauren Ashcraft. Lauren, what's up?
I'm really happy to be back. Also, before both of my debates, I took CBD, and I just wanted to say my debates were brought to you by CBD. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Yes. Connections. I love it.
Yeah. It's great to be back. I am catching up. I feel like I got hit by a herd of elephants. So I've been playing.
I can only imagine.
Animal Crossing has been my therapy. So I'm just coming back to life now.
Well, I can only imagine. I mean, I know people that have run for office, friends of mine that have run for office and colleagues. And I think you definitely need to just unplug for a little bit. I mean, honestly, I was pleasantly surprised you said yes, because I was half expecting like you guys were going to be like, she's unplugging for a little bit. Like, understandable, but I'm glad you wanted.
Well, I don't say no to
you. I appreciate it. So you were not victorious, but you ran a hell of a campaign, and so I want to start with like a cliche, but I really want to get your take on this. What would you say was your first favorite part of running for office, and then least favorite part of running for office? And you can answer it in whichever order you want, but I'm curious your take on that.
Yeah. So my favorite part is actually we consider our whole campaign to be a win, because we raised awareness about issues that no other candidate in the race did. Like, I spent a lot of my time in the public housing community next door. Literally got invited into somebody's home, and we broadcasted the conditions that she was living in. And 2 hours later, Nitra was finally fixing her apartment up. She's been asking them for 2 years for help. So nice. Seeing real impacts that we as a team are making in the community still brings a lot of joy to my heart. And also, I'm not going anywhere, and I have plans to meet with people about a community garden that we're going to bring to the community. So I'm going to stay really active and keep fighting in every single way that I can. And these relationships that we've been building and friendships that I've made, I've also met people like you along the way. So I can't even put into words how amazing that is. And I think together we're quite a force to be reckoned with, this whole community that we've built. And, not going anywhere. I think the results are pretty indicative. I was the leftist candidate in the race, and it's pretty cool that we took a big chunk of the vote against 2 multimillionaire I guess you can kind of call them both incumbents, but 2 multimillionaire candidates that have either this time or last cycle dropped hundreds of thousands of dollars of their own money into their race. So we were the little engine that could, and totally people powered. And I'm really, really proud of the work that we've done, and we're not stopping.
That's one of my favorite books as a kid.
Yeah, right.
You remember that one? Oh man, I've made my mom read that book to me like so many times. She could probably still recite it by heart.
Aww.
All these years. Yeah, that was like my favorite. That and what was the other one? It's not important, but Little Engine That Could was definitely one of my favorite books as a kid. Anyway.
Yeah, I felt like it. I really felt like our campaign was that. We made it over the hill. So, and then my least favorite part.
Enough with the positivity. Least favorite.
Oh my gosh, I could go on for a long time, but the whole system's rigged. The whole system. I worked until March of this year because I have bills to pay, and I don't have the luxury of not working for multiple months. I'm actually gonna start looking for paid jobs today. So I don't really have that much time to get back in the swing of things, because I'm a real person that has bills. And I saw, it's a lot easier for people that are connected to personal wealth and wealthy networks. The whole system is set up to keep moving us in that direction, keep the wealthy people wealthy and powerful, and then keep the rest of us down. And every once in a while, some of us make it through. And I'm sure this is not the last time I'll run for anything, but definitely need to take a little bit of a breather first. But it's dirty. Two of the candidates in my race have thought up some pretty creative and wild lies about me that I got a lot of amusement out of, to be quite honest. And I'm sure.
Wait, what were a couple of them? Do you want to share?
Oh yeah, totally.
Right.
One of them is like I think we talked about this before, but I actually worked as a project manager in JP Morgan, which is where I became a democratic socialist. And surprise to all my haters, I'm still not going to go back and help them. But I got a whole bunch of promotions from my trolls. Like somehow I even saw that it was related to Jamie Dimon, which is hilarious. And that I was like a VP or like senior executive. And I'm like, wow, you're giving this company a lot of credit for like promoting talent when they see it. No, I was a project manager. And I think all of the project managers that have watched my race would be very flattered to think that all of us had so much power in a huge corporation. Yeah, that was one of them. I also, what else? Someone said that I moved out of the district recently. I moved across the river, which runs right through the district, because I couldn't afford my rent in Manhattan anymore. So it's just like.
But they tried to spin it like she moved into a high rise in Hoboken.
Yeah.
She left us.
Yeah, it's like, hello, this is still the district. I'm just paying less rent than you. But yeah, just a lot of stuff, silly stuff. And I got one hit piece, but that wasn't a lie. That was awesome. So I actually, I wrote an email and the subject line was F the police. And we ended up in Fox News because of it. And that's one of the proudest moments of my campaign, because we got an email from the journalist asking, like, what do you mean? Like, F the police. And I was like, you heard me.
Could you please expand on that?
Yeah, F the police. Yeah, and then we provided a big stance about how, people are protesting police brutality, and the result is police driving cars into crowds of protesters. So, yeah, F the police. I stand by it.
Yeah, I posted a thing where it was like, okay, is defund the police too harsh for you? Well, here, let's expand. Defund them, dismantle them, abolish them, and then reinvent what it means to have law enforcement in our life. How's that? How does that sit with you? Because that's what we need to frickin' do.
Yeah. I'm sorry about everyone's feelings that are hurt right now, but there's also like a lot of innocent people dying.
Yeah.
Getting murdered. So
yeah, that sort of takes a front seat right now. And when you look at this system that was just put in place in the first place to make the ruling class feel a little bit better, it's time to kind of gut it and come up with a new way of doing things. I'm not saying we should have total chaos, that we shouldn't have any law and order. I don't feel that way. But it's time to reinvent what it means to have law and order in our life. And you know what? I'm not exactly sure what we'll come up with, but it would take effort. True effort to come up with something shittier than what we have now. Like, we'd really have to try. Like, it wouldn't, like, you and I couldn't even do it alone. We need to get like some other people and have to be like, how can we come up with something shittier than what we have now when it comes to law and order of a society? How can we come up with something shittier than years of institutionalized racism, killing without any repercussion whatsoever? How can we come up with something even worse? Of course, we wouldn't be trying to come up with something worse, but it's like we're going to come up with something better.
Yes, exactly. I feel like we're very much on the same page here. And yeah, whenever you think about just how bad things are, that we have a military industrial complex too. And my opponent always voted to increase the military budget. And that,
like a true patriot.
yes. And she also voted for the surplus military equipment to flow to the police. And I'm just like,
that never goes south.
How many steps along the way can you fail your constituents? That's exactly why we're in the situation we're in, is because for decades and decades, our leaders have been failing.
So let's get back to, you're talking about how it's rigged. So why is that? From your experience? I mean, I know there's a million different ways to answer that question, but specifically in your experience, what were some moments where you're just like, this is just absolutely ridiculous?
Yeah. Well, I really haven't thought about how to phrase this yet, but it's been bothering me for quite some time. Is there are all these Democratic clubs all over the district, and it's part of the process that you go to all of their forums and you present your case, and they endorse one of the people running. It could be the incumbent, it could be challengers, who knows. But almost every single time they endorse the incumbent. And you also see that the incumbent donates to that club, donates thousands of dollars that you personally don't have and your grassroots campaign doesn't have. So it's just this cycle of power. And you also see like the same 40 people at all of these different clubs around the same city. And the thing is, like, for a grassroots challenger, spending dozens of evenings at these forums is a huge chunk of your time that you could otherwise be knocking on doors. But you're sitting there in a forum that you'll probably lose, and you're presenting your case in front of the same people over and over that already voted for the incumbent like 12 times.
So it's just a facade.
Yeah, there's a lot of facade. And I think the most disappointing, like, you pretty much know you're going to lose and you're wasting your time in a lot of these situations. But the most disappointing is when you see like younger grassroots organizations also supporting an incumbent that has a terrible record that goes against everything they represent.
How often did that happen in your experience?
Maybe a handful of times, or like something similar as that young organizations that exist like purely to support progressive grassroots candidates, just like didn't want to get involved in our race because it was messy. Because there was another millionaire person running, and we have a well-funded incumbent that's backed by corporate PACs and like all the Democratic clubs. So you're up against like not just a mountain, but it's like a mountain with tanks and a moat and crocodiles and like grenade launchers pointed at you. And like, you're really trying to survive and grow your team and fundraise, but you have all these huge wastes of your time that if you don't participate in them, you're definitely going to get called out. So I'm not sure my team ever quite figured out if we should have just been like, yeah, sorry, no, we're busy. Which, like, in the end, maybe we should have. I think if
that's a hard judgment call to make. And how do you, and I've never been on that side of the fence. I've never run for office. The only campaigns I've ever been involved with have been like cause-based campaigns, like a campaign for net neutrality and stuff like that. So I don't really have any point of reference there.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Unplug. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your